Last year, right, a single corporate commercial paid out more money to an independent Miami record label than an entire year of Spotify streams.
Yeah, which is just insane to think about.
It really is. But, you know, they didn't get that massive deal because their music was inherently, like, better than anyone else's.
Right. No.
They actually got it because of a 64-character string of cryptographic text.
It completely shatters the illusion of the music industry, honestly. Yeah. I mean, we all want to believe that raw talent and, a great sound are enough to build an empire.
Totally. Just pure vibes.
Exactly. But the actual mechanics of success look far more like, well, a cybersecurity firm than a late-night recording section.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
So welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Today we are opening up a stack of sources that takes you straight into the machine room of the modern music business.
The really unglamorous machine room.
Very unglamorous. We are looking at the internal operational playbooks and podcast concepts from a company called 786Muzik Publishing LLC.
And just to clarify, they are a Miami-based electronic music label operating right now, like in 2026.
Right. And our mission for you today is to basically strip away the glamorous mystique of the music industry. We want to unpack the exact step-by-step administrative blueprint this label uses to build a profitable, long-lasting catalog.
Because these documents are incredibly revealing. I mean, we aren't looking at press releases or marketing spin here.
No PR fluff at all.
None. We're looking at the actual internal checklists that dictate whether an artist, actually gets paid.
Right. And to set the stage, 786Muzik has this official, very Miami motto. It's the vibe is the only rule.
Which, is a beautiful philosophy for the recording studio.
Sounds great on a t-shirt.
It does. But the brilliant irony of their entire playbook is that protecting that uninhibited vibe requires, heavy, relentless operational compliance.
Yeah, the exact opposite of just going with the flow.
Exactly. If you want the freedom to follow the vibe creatively, you have to build an absolute fortress of paperwork around it first.
So, to understand how they build that fortress, let's track the journey of a hypothetical new song from 786Muzik.
Let's do it.
Let's call this track Neon Vibe. Now, before Neon Vibe even exists, before a synthesizer is even plugged in.
Or a B is programmed, yeah.
Right. The legal and financial house has to be built from absolute zero. We're talking about the non-negotiable first steps in the playbook here.
The real foundational stuff.
Yeah. So they formed a single-member LLC, they secured an employer identification number, and they meticulously filled out W-9s.
Right. And establishing a single-member LLC acts as the critical barrier between the business's liabilities and the personal assets of the founders.
Got it. So it protects their personal bank account.
Exactly. And the W-9s are just fundamental. A W-9 is essentially raising your hand to the IRS and saying, hey, this business entity officially exists.
Right. I am a real business.
Yeah. And it tells them how to track its tax liability separately from, your personal grocery bills. It creates a distinct financial identity.
Okay. That makes sense.
But beyond that standard corporate setup, they immediately integrate that new identity into the massive matrix of music royalty collection.
Yeah, and this is where it gets dense. The playbook lists out registration with 4 specific pillars. First, there's BMI, where they set up both publisher and writer accounts.
Yep.
Then there's SoundExchange, the MLC, and finally, Songtrust.
Right. And what's fascinating here is just how fragmented the music royalty system is historically. You really see why registering with all 4 of these specific bodies is absolutely necessary to capture every single penny.
Because they don't share data.
No, they don't overlap at all. So BMI, right, is a performance rights organization. It was built for the era of radio and live venues.
So that's performance royalties.
Exactly. So if Neon Vibe plays in a nightclub in Berlin or on a traditional FM radio station, BMI collects that.
Okay.
But SoundExchange is entirely separate. They were created to collect digital performance royalties for the master sound recording.
So if a track is played on SiriusXM satellite radio.
Yes, exactly. That goes to SoundExchange, not BMI.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the plumbing of this industry is just incredibly complex.
It really is a maze.
Think of the music industry as a sprawling municipal water system, right? Your song, Neon Vibe, is the water flowing through the pipes.
I like that analogy.
Right. So if you don't actively register your specific pipes with the right agencies, your royalties don't just sit in a neat little bank account waiting for you to claim them.
Oh, no. Definitely not.
They literally leak into the ground and eventually go to other artists.
That is a very accurate way to look at it. And honestly, the leak gets even worse when you look at streaming.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that is where the MLC comes in, the Mechanical Licensing Collective. They specifically hunt down mechanical royalties from streaming services in the U.S.
Okay, wait, what exactly is a mechanical royalty again?
It's generated for the right to reproduce the track,
Huh.
which technically happens every single time someone clicks play on a digital platform like Spotify or Apple Music.
Wow, okay. So that's a huge bucket of money.
Huge. And finally, you have Songtrust. They act as a global publishing administrator. Think of them as a massive dragonet to catch the complex international royalties that those other US-based organizations might miss.
Okay, but I'm looking at this list, LLCs, W-9s, 4 different royalty registries, and I'm putting myself in the shoes of like a 20-year-old producer in their bedroom.
It's intimidating, for sure.
It feels like you're killing the creative spark before you even drop a beat. I mean, why not just wait until the song actually gets some traction?
I hear that all the time.
Right. Like, is it really worth doing all this exhausting paperwork before you even know if your first track is a hit?
Yes, because doing it in reverse is an absolute nightmare.
Really? How so?
Well, imagine your track suddenly goes viral on some social media platform, right?
Mm-hmm.
Millions of plays are generating fractions of a cent every single second.
Okay, yeah, the dream scenario.
Right. But if you haven't laid this legal groundwork beforehand, those fractions of a cent are dropping into a designated black box of unmatched royalties at these organizations.
Oh, wow. A black box. So it's just sitting there?
Sitting there, but not forever.
Huh.
You are suddenly scrambling to retroactively claim money that is actively expiring according to strict statutory deadlines.
Wait, it expires. You can just lose it.
Yes. It becomes this stressful legal scramble, and inevitably you permanently lose a percentage of that income. Structure has to precede success.
Wow. Okay. Lesson learned. Do the paperwork. So the foundation is poured. The LLC exists. The royalty accounts are open. Now Neon Vibe is finally produced and ready to go.
The fun part.
Right. But the next phase of the 786Muzik playbook is ensuring the track can actually be identified by those agencies we just talked about.
Yes, exactly.
Which brings us to the metadata vault. According to the internal documents, the label manages a catalog of about 50 to 60 tracks.
Not huge, but significant.
Right, but they don't just use like a messy folder on a desktop labeled final mixes.
No, absolutely not.
Everything is meticulously organized in a Notion database. Every single track is assigned a sequential ISRC code. And I know ISRC stands for International Standard Recording Code, which is basically the digital barcode for the song.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
But the playbook details something much deeper called BWF metadata embedding, using a tool called BWF meta edit at the Bext version 2 standard, which sounds like a lot of jargon.
It does.
Yeah.
But to understand why this matters, you have to look at the actual anatomy of an audio file. BWF stands for Broadcast Wave Format.
Okay.
It's an extension of the high-quality WAV audio file format, but it includes a dedicated chunk of internal space specifically designed to hold text data.
Ah, so you can write notes inside the audio file.
Exactly. When they use BWF meta edit to embed data at the Bext version 2 standard, they are baking the song's title, the artist, the ISRC code, and the copyright owner directly into the genetic code of the audio file itself.
Wow, so they're permanently fused together.
Yes. Think of Bext version 2 as the universally agreed upon language for audio data. If you don't format your data in that specific language, the automated sorting systems at Spotify or Apple Music literally cannot read your ownership claims when they scan the file.
They just see a blank file.
Exactly. It's invisible to the system.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. The playbook shows that they take it a massive step further. For every single release, they generate a SHA-256 hash.
Yes, the cryptographic hash.
I mean, are we releasing a house track or securing a cryptocurrency here?
It sounds like crypto, I know.
Right.
But a SHA-256 hash is just a cryptographic algorithm. It analyzes the exact binary contents of an audio file and generates a unique, fixed-size string of 64 letters and numbers.
Okay, wait, let me get this straight. If even a single millisecond of that audio changes, or like if someone alters a single pixel of the album art embedded in it, does the hash change?
It changes completely. The new file would generate a completely unrecognizable 64-character string.
That is wild. So they're essentially using this as a digital tripwire.
Precisely.
If someone tries to sample their kick drum without permission, or rip the track and upload it under a different name, 786Muzik has absolute mathematical proof of the original state of the file.
They can prove it's theirs beyond a shadow of a doubt. which is why they take that hash, the sequential ISRC code, and the BWF metadata, and package it all into what they call a final proof package PDF.
Okay, so that acts as a sort of birth certificate for the song.
Exactly. A certification document for every single release. Sending untagged, unhashed music into the digital ecosystem is the equivalent of mailing a physical check with no recipient name and no return address.
It's just going to get lost in the mail.
Right. The streaming platforms and royalty agencies are processing millions of songs a day. They aren't going to do detective work to figure out who deserves a 50-cent payout. The metadata dictates the payout.
All right, so Neon Vibe is mathematically secured, the pipes are laid, the water is tagged.
Everything is locked in.
Now, the music actually has to reach the audience, and the playbook details a very specific migration in their distribution strategy here.
Right, the move away from their early distributor.
Yeah, in the early days, 786Muzik used DistroKid, and the notes acknowledge that DistroKid is, fantastic for speed and cost when you are just starting out.
Sure, it's very accessible.
But to push Neon Vibe and the rest of the growing catalog, they made this massive administrative effort to migrate everything over to symphonic distribution.
Which is not a small task.
No. The playbook mentions they use an 8-point criteria list just for evaluating these distributors.
Moving a 50-track catalog across distributors is a super delicate operation. You have to transfer those exact ISRC codes flawlessly so you don't lose your existing streaming counts or playlist placements.
Oh, right, because if the code changes, it's treated like a brand new song with 0 place.
Exactly. It resets to 0. But a label evaluating a distributor on an 8-point criteria list is looking far beyond just a simple upload tool.
What else are they looking for?
Well, while a beginner platform focuses on like a flat yearly fee to get you on Spotify, a label needs back-end infrastructure. They're looking at the depth of geographic analytics to plan tours, for example.
Oh, so they can see where their fans are actually listening.
Right. And the ability to automatically split royalty payments among different collaborating producers, or direct access to dedicated support representatives when something goes wrong.
Instead of just an automated chatbot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plus, active pitching services to get tracks onto editorial playlists. Symphonic offered that true label-scale infrastructure.
Okay, so they upgraded the plumbing to handle more volume. But the most aggressive part of their strategy, and when they really pull the audience in, is what they do with YouTube.
Yes, their YouTube strategy is fascinating.
They don't treat YouTube like a digital dumping ground where you just post a static image of the album cover with the audio playing in the background.
No, not at all.
For 786Muzik, YouTube is an active, multi-layered engine.
It really requires a fundamental shift in perspective. They look at YouTube not just as a listening platform, but as a three-pronged revenue mix.
Okay, what are the 3 prongs?
First, you have traditional ad revenue from video views, right?
Mm-hmm.
Second, you have YouTube music streaming credits when premium subscribers listen. And third, arguably the most valuable, you have dedicated audience development.
And to capture all 3 of those, they run a multi-series strategy. The playbook outlines a mixed series, podcast content, and documentary storytelling about the label itself.
They're building a whole media network.
Exactly. And they are relentless about search engine optimization, SEO. They constantly tweak video titles, descriptions, and tags.
Very data-driven.
Yeah, they meticulously study their thumbnail click-through rates. And they operate on a strict content calendar with the specific goal of hitting and maintaining the YouTube Partner Program monetization threshold.
And, the strategy behind the Mix series is particularly clever when you look at the actual mechanics of the YouTube algorithm.
How so?
Because the algorithm rewards watch time above almost everything else. If you upload a 3-minute music video, you need 100 people to watch it all the way through just to generate 300 minutes of watch time.
Right, and getting 100 people to stay the whole time is hard.
Very hard. But a weekly or bi-weekly 1-hour DJ mix, that functions as a long-term SEO asset. People put on a 1-hour electronic music mix while they're studying, working, or at the gym.
I do that all the time, yeah.
Right. So it only takes 5 people listening to that mix to generate the same 300 minutes of watch time.
Oh, wow. That's a huge difference.
It is. It tells the algorithm to push the channel to more people, building compounding viewership over time in a way that standard single releases just cannot achieve.
So what does this all mean for the modern creative? Do indie labels basically have to operate as full-time broadcasters and YouTubers now just to survive?
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
Because the barrier to entry for releasing music has dropped to 0. Which means the market is infinitely saturated.
There's just too much noise.
Exactly. Every single day, thousands of new tracks are uploaded. Attention is the actual scarce resource. 786Muzik understands that relying entirely on the hopes of landing a Spotify editorial playlist is a terrible business model.
It's basically a lottery ticket.
It is. By acting like a broadcaster on YouTube, they own the direct relationship with their audience. They are actively building the community that will consume their music rather than waiting passively to be discovered.
And building that engaged community on YouTube provides this steady, reliable drip of ad revenue, right? It keeps the lights on and pays for the studio time.
It's the baseline.
Right. But reading through these internal playbooks, it becomes incredibly clear that YouTube and Spotify are not the end game for them. They literally refer to sync licensing as their golden goose, the massive windfall that funds their long-term growth.
Yeah, sync licensing requires a completely different operational mindset than streaming. It is the absolute holy grail for independent labels.
Let's clearly define sync licensing for a second. It is simply placing your synchronized music into visual media like TV shows, independent films, video games, corporate ad campaigns.
Anything with a screen, basically.
Exactly. And 786Muzik has a massive unfair advantage in this arena, specifically because of how they structured themselves way back at step one with their LLCs and publishing accounts.
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture of how Hollywood operates, the advantage becomes obvious.
Break that down for us.
Sure. When a music supervisor for, say, a massive Netflix show or a global ad agency wants to use a song, they have to clear two entirely separate rights.
Okay.
They need the sync license, which covers the underlying composition, the sheet music, the melody, the lyrics, and they need the master license, which covers the specific recorded audio file of that composition.
Okay, and in the traditional major label system, those rights are split up, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
The publisher owns the composition, and the record label owns the master recording.
Sounds like a headache.
Oh, it is. So a music supervisor trying to license a popular track for, like, a sneaker commercial has to negotiate with two different massive corporations, locate all 6 credited songwriters to get their individual approvals, and sign 2 different checks.
That sounds like immense friction.
It causes so much friction. And often, deals fall apart because one writer holds out or a label asks for too much. But 786Muzik is a one-stop shop. They own the master license as the label, and they own the sync license as the publisher.
Wow, so they hold all the cards. It's like owning both the plot of land and the house built on top of it.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. When a developer comes knocking, wanting to buy the property, you don't have to track down the landowner to ask permission to sell the house. You hold all the keys, you dictate the terms, and you keep all the money.
Which eliminates all the friction. From the perspective of an ad agency operating on a tight deadline, 786Muzik is incredibly attractive. A music supervisor can discover Neon Vibe, send one single email to the label, and clear the track for global use with a single signature.
And the playbook shows they lean into this heavily. They position their specific style of electronic music as the soundtrack to urban movement, and they aggressively pitch their catalog to sync platforms like MusicBed, Artlist, and Epidemic Sound.
And this is exactly where the heavy administrative work pays off.
Oh, because of the metadata?
Exactly. When an ad agency is prepared to pay, say, $50,000 for a sync placement, they require absolute legal certainty that you actually own the music and won't expose them to a copyright lawsuit.
Nobody wants to get sued over a sneaker commercial.
No. So that impenetrable metadata vault, the Bex version 2 data, the sequential ISRCs, and that cryptographic proof package PDF we talked about earlier, that is what closes the deal. The legal certainty is just as valuable as the music itself.
And it all serves their ultimate end game. I mean, this playbook isn't designed for a quick cash grab or 15 minutes of viral fame on TikTok. It outlines a 10-year vision.
It's very forward-thinking.
They're building a family legacy. The documents map out a strategy for compounding 10 distinct revenue streams over the next decade.
Which is incredible.
They even outline a concept for expanding the brand architecture doing business as entities, or DBAs, based on geographic area codes.
Oh, right, the city-based labels.
Yeah, so 786Muzik serves as the Miami hub, but the administrative framework is so tight that it easily allows for 212 music for New York or 206 music for Seattle. It's basically a franchise model built on top of a flawless administrative foundation.
Because a properly registered, perfectly tagged music catalog is a financial asset that pays dividends long after the initial release. The value of that catalog stacks over time.
It just grows and grows.
Exactly. The songs you meticulously registered and released 5 years ago can suddenly be placed in a hit TV show tomorrow, generating a massive windfall.
As we wrap up this deep dive, it's worth circling back to where we started. 786Music's motto: the vibe is the only rule.
Right.
We all love the romantic idea of the carefree artist, living entirely in the moment, purely channeling inspiration without a single thought for spreadsheets.
It's the dream.
It is. But what these internal playbooks prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is that true creative freedom, like the kind of freedom that lasts a decade, survives algorithm changes, and builds an inheritable family legacy, is bought and paid for by unglamorous things.
Highly unglamorous.
It's bought with single-member LLCs, BWF metadata, sequential ISRC databases, and cryptographic hashes.
And, this raises a really important question, especially when we look at the trajectory of the modern creative landscape right now.
Where do you see it going?
Well, we're entering an era where generative AI can instantly flood the market with millions of decent-sounding, copyright-free instrumental tracks every single day.
Oh, absolutely. The volume is going to be insane.
The sheer volume of raw audio out there is going to commoditize human musical talent to a degree we've never seen before. In 5 years, simply having a great vibe or a catchy beat won't be a competitive advantage at all.
Because the machine can do it instantly.
Exactly. So it leaves you with this interesting thought to chew on. As the market drowns in AI-generated content, a flawless, legally unassailable metadata vault might be the only true moat a human artist has left.
Wow.
The immaculate administration of their business might actually be the one thing a machine cannot replicate.
That is a fascinating point to end on, administration as the ultimate armor. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Keep questioning the invisible systems operating behind the scenes and keep exploring that fascinating intersection where art meets commerce. We'll see you next time.